Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is the seventh installment in the Mission Impossible franchise and follows Ethan Hunt and his crew as they look to collect two parts of a key in order to destroy an intelligent AI that threatens the entire world. It hit theaters July 10th and has been received positively by critics and fans alike. But just how good is it? What can you expect going in, and what were some weak points? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to be outlining for you all today as I give a quick spoiler-free review of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Let me start by saying that this film had an insanely high standard of quality to live up to following Mission Impossible Fallout, which quite literally is one of my favorite movies of all time, and just a masterclass in how to make an action movie. And I will be the first to say that this film does not disappoint at all. Once again, the people behind these movies have found a way to come up with unique settings for fight scenes, where elements of the setting are being cleverly incorporated into the fight. There's a fight in the desert during a sandstorm with limited visibility being an obstacle. There's also another fight in like a narrow alleyway where limited space plays an important factor. And for example, there's also like an extended chase sequence throughout the city of Rome, making good use of different vehicles and locations. All of this, on top of some very thrilling stunts and clean choreography, will definitely leave any action movie fan satisfied. Dead Reckoning is also impeccably shot. This film looks gorgeous with crisp shots, popping colors, and some really nice use of lighting and location. The cinematography team did an unbelievable job following in the footsteps of the two previous films before it, and if you're a fan of grand and majestic cinematography, it really doesn't get much better than what Dead Reckoning provides. Also, really quickly before I forget, this movie had a really great score that really enhances each scene and makes great use of the iconic Mission Impossible theme, but slightly manipulating that theme to match whatever scene is occurring on screen. There's also a few callbacks in the movie to the first one, like the opening conversation with Kittredge or the fight on the train, so fans of the franchise will definitely have some fun catching all the little Easter eggs scattered throughout the movie. Aside from that, all the actors and actresses do phenomenal in their respective roles, and Tom Cruise continues to separate himself onto an almost untouchable echelon of action stars. Some of the stunts that he did in this movie are remarkable considering his age, and like by far the most impressive one was driving a motorcycle off of a cliff, free falling for a few hundred feet, and then activating a parachute. Like, that sequence in the film is built up to really well. It's extremely compelling, and just like all of his stunts in this movie, again, it's remarkable. Like the scenes of him driving and drifting throughout the streets of Rome one-handed while being handcuffed to someone else, that was all practical. Tom Cruise is actually in that car drifting throughout the streets of Rome while one-handed. It's just insane, some of the stunts that this guy pulls off, and like I said, especially at this age, he just continues to show why he's a one-of-a-kind action star. Aside from Cruise though, everyone did their part perfectly. The people behind this movie clearly know what they're doing at this point, and it's so fun to just sit back and watch all of these elements of filmmaking just fall seamlessly into place. So now that I've gone over the positives, I want to touch on some things that I didn't enjoy as much. Not to say that any of these things that I'm about to talk about ruin the movie. The positives still far outweigh the negatives, but there were a few things that held the movie back, at least for me. So for starters, we get introduced to a new character in this movie, and the movie dedicates a lot of time to help flesh out this character and develop her chemistry with Ethan. And while that was done well, like don't get me wrong, that was done well, the two work very well on screen together, it means that unfortunately we lose screen time for characters like Benji and Luthor, who take even more of a backseat in this film compared to previous installments. And I get why it was done, because this new character needs time to be fleshed out. But in a film with such an intricate and complicated plot, there wasn't really too much more screen time to go around without the film crossing into the 3-hour mark. So the limited screen time for Benji and Luthor and other characters, it kind of seems like a necessary evil for moviegoers who really enjoy these characters. And speaking of a complicated plot, much like Fallout, this movie does a good job laying out its basic plot structure, but if you really want to fully understand everything that is going on, you will most likely have have to watch it more than once to get the full picture. There's tons of information that gets thrown at you at high speeds, and between all the cool fights and crazy stunts, it can be easy to miss a few things that might lead to some confusion for some audience members. I know personally I didn't catch everything on my first viewing, so I will definitely be going back to watch the movie again and kind of get more of an understanding of everything exactly that was going on. But it still gives you the bare bones necessity enough and makes that clear enough that the average audience member can still follow with like the basic story and still understand like basic underlying motivations for why we're going through everything that we're going through in this film. But other than those two things, I really have almost nothing to say bad about Dead Reckoning Part 1. The movie ends with enough of an ending to leave viewers satisfied while still leaving the entire conflict of this story unresolved, generating plenty of hype for Part 2. Whether you're someone who has watched all the Mission Impossible movies up until this point, or just someone who likes action movies and you're just watching it with some friends, I can almost guarantee you that you will have a great time with this movie and be eagerly expecting the second part by the time the credits roll. I plan on making another non-spoiler free video going over this movie in more detail, so if you want to catch that video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe and help me get to 10,000 subs before the end of the year. I'll catch you all on the next one. Have a great day.